I'm an educator. I'm a young educator. I'm a newer educator. And one of the things I've noticed through years of research and working with all populations of students is that the easiest thing is for some reason the hardest thing to do, which is advocate for yourself. Win, lose, or draw. When a situation of adversity comes into play, what will you do? On October 31st, 2013, I got a phone call from a past friend who we lost touch because we each ended up transferring to different institutions in order to continue our hostile takeover of the college world. I had a whole bits prepared as soon as I saw her name come up on the caller ID. I was excited. It's been a full year. And then right as I was about to say something, I hear her crying. And the reason why I hear her crying is because over the next 47 minutes, she tells me the story about how she was raped. And in fact, she was on her way back to New Jersey from California. And she needed someone to pick her up from Newark International Airport. Now, as someone who believes in the idea that the hardest thing to do is advocate for yourself, I thought now it's my turn to help her. She's putting all her chips in. She is seeking help when this is the hardest thing for someone to do. I pick her up on November 3rd, 2013, and I actually take her to a restaurant. She spent the entire day in the airport, followed by the airplane. Time to get her some food. We need some comfort. She was a shell of her former self, and I was not old or wise enough at the moment to know how to deal with this. So prior to November 3rd, I actually called someone who works with Title IX. For people who don't know what Title IX is, it's for individuals who have cases regarding sexual harassment, assault, misconduct, things of that nature. And her name is Kat, and she gave me advice onto your job is to listen, actually listen. And there's a reason why you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Shut up, listen. So over the next hour while we are at dinner, followed by me driving her to her parents' place, which by the way, they will now learn that night why their daughter is coming home unexpectedly. She was a shell of her former self. You could see the life taken out. And I made this promise to myself that even though in the next several weeks, my job is to check in with her via phone, via email, whatever the hell it takes. I made a promise to myself without actually mentioning this to her. If I run into him or if I walk into him, it's going down. 13 months later, we are now all alumnus members of our respective colleges. But we all met at the first college we went to, which was for our associate's degree. I see him at the alumni event. And as soon as I walk into the conference center, I know. I've only met him twice. And it's been about 3 or 4 years since I've actually seen him. I couldn't tell you his full name, but I knew exactly what he looked like. And it was as if I was transported back to 13 months earlier, picking her up from Newark Airport, which, by the way, the very first book I ever purchased was at Hudson News, and it was Bossy Pants by Tina Fey. Highly encourage you as a side plug to purchase that book. As I'm sitting at this event, the purpose of the event is for all of us to disclose how are our years since graduation. And in between providing my talking points and eating the free food, I could not take my eyes away from him. It was the closest I've ever been to a hawk. He was in my line of vision. After the event, I looked right at him and I said, "How is Nicole doing?" And knew exactly what I was referring to. He followed me to the hallway minutes later, and he and I proceeded to have a conversation that was very aggressive and very firm for about 40 minutes. And in those 40 minutes, I'm thinking, she was all in this scenario. She traveled to the other side of the country to spend time with you, and this is what happened. Now, win, lose, or draw, at the end of this conversation, shit's gonna go down. And in that conversation, I was thinking of what could I do to get away with legally. And then I realized because I'm on a college campus and I'm now representing as one of their proud graduates, it would be beneath me in the institution to give him the satisfaction. He ended the conversation of putting out his hand, offering a handshake. I looked at him, I turned around, and I walked away. The reason why I share this with you is because we have a bunch of people not only who are speaking tonight, but are also audience members. And win, lose, or draw, the number one common denominator we have as people is that moment of adversity. So when you're putting your chips in, when you're gambling on yourself or gambling on the people closest to you, what will you do? Thank you very much.